All right, so if you watch that little quick video I just did, we pulled the motor out of this car over here. Um, this is a 05. Basically, it was bumped in the front. It's got a salvage. I think it's gonna have a salvage title. But regardless of the issue, um, somebody needed that motor. We knew it ran. We sent it out. They're installing it in their car. We knew the transmission was good because we actually got to see it work and run it through the gears. So that's sitting here also. But this engine here, I pulled this out of a car. I think it hit a tree. If I had to guess, it hit a tree. I've probably had this thing sitting here for like 2 years out there underneath my carport. So, I mean, I'd sold some pieces off of it. The wiring was damaged. The starter was smashed. So I just kind of did a quick cleanup. Right now, I'm just kind of going over it. Just doing the bare minimum because I want to get this thing set down in here so that I can actually start this thing up and hear it run. And then I can test out the transmission. Then I know if either one of these are good. There was no way for me to test this. I mean, it had all this damage to the wiring harness. You can see there's the throttle body. Sensor was damaged. The starter was actually damaged. Here's the dipstick tube. Parts came up in. They bent this, busted the top off. I actually found this down behind the starter. The upper timing cover was busted from the hit. Just, you know, it was shoved back so far into the firewall. It was just not something that I was going to try to get running while it was in that car. That was just so damaged. So I got to pull the rest of this bad wiring harness off over here. I want to clean this out. I want to make sure that there's no debris down inside of here. I got to replace this side bracket. We got the starter on. I'm going to be pulling these plugs. I'm going to scope the cylinders just to make sure. It did have the intake and the exhaust manifold, so there should not be anything down inside these cylinders. But that's some of the stuff that you're got to check. I just pulled the broken axle out over here. You can see that the oil sending unit is no good on this. Basically, I'm just going to throw the turbo on, the wiring, bolt this thing up with some motor mounts, probably just a lower lateral mount. The trans mount and the center mount will be bolted. And then I'll get the shifter cables hooked up. I'll throw the axles back in, fill everything up with fluid. That way I can sit here, I can put, it'll actually have some load on the transmission. It won't be pulling the whole car, but that load right there is enough that if this thing has like a third gear pop out, we're going to know, okay? Because it's going to pop out on a downshift with the wheels on, rotating up on the jack, just like this, or the lift, or jack stands, lift, whatever you got going on. So that is our plan for today. But this is a lot of work just to test out an engine to make sure that you know that it's good. If this thing sounds good and it's got good compression, it's worthy of sticking in a car then, in a permanent manner with doing more repair to it. I mean, I'll probably have a couple hours, maybe most of my day, getting this thing put down in here. But I'm sure I'm running on a lot longer than what I need to. I'm almost in the 3-minute range. So I'm going to get this thing pulled out, do the harness, get a couple other things situated, throw the turbo on that I pulled off the other motor that I had sitting over here. So I'll be able to test out that turbo because obviously I didn't test that turbo out before. So we're going to have that. At least that's going to spin. We're going to eliminate an oil leak there. And yeah, we're going to know if we got a good motor and a good trans. We'll pull this out. I'll show you what it looks like down inside, show you what the plugs look like. I did take the vacuum to this thing. I vacuumed all the dirt, the rust, the broken glass, the little pieces of stuff that shouldn't be in here off of this thing so far. You can tell that car did have a heater core issue because they had it jumped out at one time. Not that that's anything we're going to mess with. So I got the plugs pulled out. They don't look bad. They're iridiums. Basically, I took some compressed air, looked down in, blew everything out, sprayed a little bit of WD-40 down. Come fast. And I'm just going to try to rotate it around. Nice, easy, good rotation. So, I mean, that's definitely a plus right there. The timing belt doesn't look too bad. you know, it'll be fine for testing this. It does need the back housing here, but like I said, now don't forget, there's no plugs in there, so there's going to be no compression. That's why it's going to rotate around easy. I'm going to clean these up a little bit. I'm going to drop them down in, and then I'm just going to spin it and see if it has compression. I would like to think it would. I'll be able to tell because it'll start pulling my tape over that I put over my intake ports. I always do that just to make sure nothing gets in there. Anytime something comes off, doesn't matter if I know nothing's going to be near it, I make sure I put tape over my ports, because you never want to get anything down inside your cylinder. So, and then if you do, you always want to double check that. So clean these up, put them in, see what's going on, and we're going to pretty much I'm just going to stick like the intermediate axle on here yet, because it's just going to be easier to do that while it's out. Normally I stick the wiring harness down through here to the alternator. I might do that, and then this thing is pretty much ready to drop down in here and start lining up some center mount bolt and our transmission mount bolt. All right, let's see what happens here. Oh yeah. Okay, I mean that's definitely a plus. It does have some compression. I can hear the air pressing through. It kind of sounds like when a tire has a leak. I got a couple things to do to this thing, and I'm putting it on the hoist, and we're putting this thing down in, and we're gonna find out if it runs. Okay, well I got a little bit ahead of myself, but we have the engine and the transmission is actually down in the car now. Did a complete oil change. It's got new transmission fluid. All the mounts are in on both sides and the lower. We don't need the upper because it just doesn't matter. Alternator's actually hooked up. Checked our oil. We got our coil. We're down to a couple things here now. We got to put the fuel line on. Battery needs to go in. ECM. And I think that this is pretty much at the point where we're going to see if it runs. Alright, well, everything's set up here right now. So we're going to crank it over and just get the oil pumping. Everything clear on the belt over there. Yeah. Makes the alternator belt will spin. So like I said, this is just test. See if it put it in neutral. Cranking over pretty good. Yeah. Alright. Let's get some fuel on this thing. There's no power going back there because that fucking rewire.
Yeah, I was gonna say I hear it ain't nothing.
Okay, well, they had modified something here for the fuel pump. There was like a type of rewire coming off the alternator when we pulled the motor out. So I didn't even look at it. That just kind of came to mind. So we're gonna check that out and then we'll see what we got. Figured this out. We've got a ground here. You got that flashlight? I'm gonna hold that one too. So they have this set up. This here is just loose, okay? And this is in here, like not even tight. So I mean, we need to just connect this one and that one. Look at that. This is where our positive's got to go to be able to power our fuel pump. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to try to jump this over. This should kick in our fuel pump. Don't do this. This is bad, man. Like,
Fire hazard.
Fire hazard, and I want to get broke down alongside the road, kind of a hazard. You know, and you got, you know, there's this is tapped right off, no fuse, tapped right off of the back of the alternator, just running straight back here. This could have came off. Somebody could have kicked this underneath the seat, grounded that out, set your car on fire. All right, let's see if I got fuel pump. How about that?
Real nice.
All right, man, come on up here with that camera. Test this thing on the relay, see if we got fuel pressure with the relay now. Okay. Let's see if this thing starts up. You're getting to hear it first, too. Finally fired. I think there was some stuff down in the cylinders. A little bit of oil or something. Who knows? Let's try this trans out real quick. Really tight. It's not wanting to disengage. We gotta check that out. But it runs. Well, maybe I do look cold. But we're getting ready to pull this thing out so we can work on something else. So it drove in with a different motor and different trans. Now it's driving out with a different motor and a different trans.